Hi. All right, y'all. Streets of New Capenna is coming out. Capenna? Yep, Capenna is coming out, which means set review. Well, I've never done one of these before, but that's what it's going to mean from now on. So it's a standard set. There's a lot of cards that aren't worth talking about. Probably all of these. So I'm just not going to bring up cards that I have absolutely no interest in. If I skip over a card or don't mention a card that you think possibly has some viability, let me know in the comments, because I don't think so. Let's start with black. The first card I'm going to mention is Grizzly Sigil. I'm just going to go on record and say this card seems pretty good, but I also don't think so. So Casualty is a new mechanic where you sacrifice a creature as it comes into play and you get to cast a copy of this spell. The number indicates the power needed for the creature to be sacrificed. So 1. So you sacrifice a token, then you get 2 versions of this card. In theory, it's nice because, you know, at top end, you gain 6 health and whatever, you know, run and 6 ping, you deal 7 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Just not sure how much we need that. I think it will see play somewhere. I just don't know if it's with Jund. All right, this next card is only because I've heard about it from other people. No. All right, now we're starting to get into black spoilers that I feel may do something, but I doubt it. Shakedown Heavy is kind of what I'm getting at. It's efficient. A 6/4 menace for 3. No other color combinations, just 2 colorless. Pretty good. I just don't know if Modern's in a meta where that's really good. I will be testing this card. I just can't ignore what it does. So overall, I'm going to give Shakedown Heavy which is slightly more than Something, somehow, some way, someone is going to use this card, and I don't think it's us. I just don't really see a world where we care about how high the CMC is, or, oh, is it mana value now? And if we want to cast this efficiently, aka 2 mana for a 7/7, we're at 7 health. Play Death Shadow, right? I can see a world where this is used just because of its mana value. Oh, now I'm saying. I just don't think Jund cares. We have a 2 mana 7/8. And it's always 2 mana. Represent! All right, let's move to red. BG. Oh, yeah, so green. Let's go to green. There's nothing here. Oh, wait, crap. I forgot about Gala Greeters. Okay, so I don't really think this is going to see play in Jund Saga, mostly because it's a bad top deck. But there is something I kind of like about it. Turn 2, you play Gala Greeters with your Urza Saga. Turn 3, you pass, as most people do with their Urza Saga up. You make a token at the end of their turn, and then with Gala Greeters, you make a treasure token. Beginning of your turn 4, you make another construct, and then you make another treasure with your Gala Greeters. Now it's the beginning of your turn 4. You have 2 treasures, 1 untapped, 2 5/5 constructs with the search you're also getting from Urza Saga, as well as your Gala Greeters, and a chance to play another land. I just really like that. I think that's a really good beginning to your turn 4. 2 5/5s and a 1/1. But it is a 1/1. And you don't want to top deck this, so maybe? Red then. I don't think this is going to see play in Jund, but I want to talk about it. Sticky Finger seems insane for a common, right? Menace, it replaces itself with mana, and you draw a card. This is gonna see play, right? Just not in Jund. The last red card, the second red card, Urabrask. I really like the idea of a top-end dinosaur or dragon or Phyrexian for Jund. This isn't it though. Multicolored! Remember how I said I wanted a top-end dragon? Well, Streets has gifted us with nothing. Fuck you. All right, the man on everyone's tongue at the moment. Obnixilis? Did I pronounce that right? Let's call him Obi. Obi has potential. I'm just not sure if that potential's in Jund. The sack clause doesn't really do anything for Jund. It kind of never has. We don't have sack synergy. We're not built for it. Jund Sack does, but that's also not us. It is cute. It is very cute. And multiple planeswalkers is really spicy. There are a lot of decks where that Punisher effect, they'll just take 2 damage, and Jund is not a deck where that Punisher effect really comes with decision making. What I mean by that is Jund is not really a deck that pressures life totals every single game. It's a mid-range deck. We can pressure if we need to versus Tron, or we can play a more control matchup if we need to versus humans or Hammer Time. I think you need a more aggressive shell to really make this work. So that's why I think it will absolutely see play in Modern, just probably in Jund Sack or Rakdos. Or just a very hyper-aggressive Jund shell, which could work. And don't get me wrong, I will be testing this card quite a bit, and I think Chandra Acolyte of Flame might be helping me out a little bit, simply because that ultimate is so good. Acolyte of Flame has synergy with Ren and 6 as well, and an artifact we'll be talking about later, so maybe there's something here, but I kind of doubt it. I'm gonna give this a solid 7 out of 10. Now I realize that this is the first actual rating I've given a card. That's because I'm making all this up on the go. Whoops Explosion. Corpus Explosion in any RPG, card game, MMO, you name it, is usually pretty good. This is pretty good. I don't think it's a Jund card, but I think there's a lot of decks that want to use something like this. Mardu Reanimator and Rakdos will like it, but this is a Jund set review. I'm gonna go with no. Masked Bandits. Now, normally I would just kind of skip over something like this, just because I think it's not unnecessary to talk about, but it's objectively kind of just an okay card for Modern. Now, if this was cycle this on your hand and a land of yours gains these traits and it still kept all of its other effects, I'd actually think that would be pretty good. I can see a world where we might want something like this. It's just not this world. The card I am most excited to talk about, which is pretty close to another, Riveteer's Charm. Riveteer's Charm does almost every single thing you need from a multimodal card. First mode, target opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker they control with the highest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. Bunch of hoopla for target opponent sacrifices, in theory, their best creature or planeswalker on the field. Specifically, this dumb dragon. It's a decent effect that has its uses, but that's not why I love this card. The third mode, exiled target player's graveyard. This effect being tied to a modal card frees up a lot of room, and any kind of room in a deck where we have a pile of 100 plus decently viable cards is an absolute banger. Basically, removing graveyard, good. On a card that lets us do other viable effects, meme. Now the second mode, the mode that took me a few tries to really kind of grasp it, mostly because we've never really had a viable effect like this. Exile the top 3 cards of your library until your next end step, you may play those cards. Seasoned Pyromancer is a great top deck, especially when you're both hellbent and you're just searching for an answer. You go +2, and that is one of the best things you can do. The play is, at the end of your opponent's end step, you cast this card, and now you have your draw step, which is 1 card, and you have the top 3 cards of your library. So you effectively have 4 cards now that you can play with to continue on and develop your turn. I can't express how freaking good that is. Jund is struggling right now to grind out long matches, more options, more cards, something that maybe lets us trim from 3 sideboard cards to 2 because we see an additional 3 cards, or maybe 6 cards if we play it twice, 9 cards if we play it 3 times. I am very excited to cast this card, and I really hope I'm not wrong. On paper, I'll give this an A+. I'm super excited. There's only one artifact that I think is worth talking about, and I really think it's worth talking about. Luxior Gaida's Gift. Ecluxior. This card gives so much more viability to any Jund Planeswalker, not just Liliana or Wrenn and 6. Now, I don't think Jund is going to become this super friends list, but I actually can just see this card as a one of in Jund. It can be searched up with Urza Saga. It can be immediately equipped to your Wrenn and 6 to just have a big 5/5 beater out of nowhere. Now I need to explain this card a little bit better because it's a little bit confusing how it interacts with Planeswalkers, what this means for this, that, and the other thing. So this card reads, equipped creature gets a +1/+1 for each counter on it. Equipped permanent isn't a Planeswalker and is a creature in addition to other types. That's where this spice all happens. So if you equip a 4 loyalty Wrenn and 6 with this, it would be a 4 power and 4 toughness creature. That's the obvious stuff. What isn't so obvious is how it interacts on the board. So if you block a 3/3 with your 4/4 Wrenn and 6, Wrenn and 6 would have 3 damage on it, and at the end of turn, that resets. It works just like normal power and toughness does. Loyalty counters are not affected because it is no longer a Planeswalker. Creatures cannot choose to attack the Planeswalker, nor do loyalty counters drop in combat or by direct damage. So you can block a 3/3 with your 4/4 Wrenn and 6, it be passed to your turn, and then you can increase the power of the Wrenn and 6 to 5/5, all the while going to 5 loyalty counters and pulling that land from your graveyard. So loyalty is still on the field, it's just not the overlaying feature of the card. It is a creature first. Now, while that important detail is out of the way, I really do think Luxior gives breath to some of these fringe viable Planeswalkers that Jund has always had. And I really think as we move on and we get more Planeswalkers, this card just gets more viable. These Planeswalkers that you would just kind of shrug off before, but now that they can also help you finish games while locking out your opponent, let's go. Let's do it. As excited as I am for a card like this, I can also see it just not seeing play in Jund. Not that that would be upsetting whatsoever, but really like the idea of this card, and I really want to play Ashiok. The honorable mention for this video is obviously going to be our new Triome, Ziatora's Proving Ground. Tap lands are just not it. Jund's most important turns are turns 1 through 3. If we do nothing for those turns, it's not like we can drop Rhinos or then we do Living End. Turns 1 through 3 make up a large complexion of the game. I'm just not sure we want it, but it's an honorable mention. People are definitely going to be using it. I can see it with Elvish Reclaimer. Can't really see it in Jund Saga. Can maybe see it in Boomer. All right, and that's it. That is my first set review. This is for Streets of New Capenna, specifically just for Modern Jund. If you have any other cards that I may have missed, let me know. I don't really think I missed anything. I don't think anything else is really worth talking about. Overall, I am very excited. We have so many other cards that will be seeing plays in brews. Whether or not those brews work, I don't know. Cards like Luxior and Reveteer's Charm, I am pretty dang certain are going to see reps. Bye-bye.